call to order the Chincoteague Town Council for September the 7th. If we can all please rise for the invocation by the Councilman Taylor.
Dear kind of Heavenly Father, Lord, first of all, I want to thank you for your many, many blessings. Lord, many of the blessings that you've given us, Lord, are right here in this room, Lord. Give us people that not only protect lives, save lives, Lord. And Lord, we pray that you continue to use them, Lord. Give them strength, Lord. Give them the want to go into work every morning, Lord, and may they do it for your will. And may everything we do be in your will, Lord. And Lord, be with all of our employees, Lord. Had a great summer, Lord, and blessed us. But Lord, it don't happen automatically, Lord. You put so many people that you blessed us with, Lord, to keep this island safe, keep it clean. Lord, we just can't thank you enough, Lord. And Lord, we pray that you will guide us in everything that we do. And Lord, we always thank you and praise you for what you do. And we pray for your continued blessings, Lord. And Lord, we pray for this school year, Lord, as it started today. Lord, be with these young people. Lord, many of the people in this room, Lord, think about these young people and what we can do to guide them along and keep them safe, Lord, and grow them up in a way, Lord, that be pleasing to you. For we ask these things in Jesus' precious name. And for his sake, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's great to see everybody. I do need a motion to allow for a phone for a council member. So moved.
Second.
Motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Friday, thank you. First thing on the agenda is public comment. Miss Julie?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Town Council. I'm Julie Brommer with Chincoteague Island Community Cats, and I am happy to announce that we are holding a fall TNR weekend clinic on the island Thursday, October 14th through Sunday, October 17th. I'd like to thank the town for allowing us to use the Firehouse Bay on Main Street to be able to hold the cats and monitor their recovery. So since we've begun, CICC has partnered with just over 50 people who care for cats on the island. And even though we still have a waiting list to work on, now we have an online registration. So people on the island who are caring for cats and need assistance with spay-neuter can go to our website, cicommunitycats.org, and sign up on the form, and we'll reach out to them to get a plan together.
Ready? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the night's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, it gives me a great honor to read this. Whereas, well, I'll start off with the headline. Certificate of Recognition presented to Miss Lily Mae Birch. Whereas Miss Birch will be honored by relatives and friends on the occasion of her 100th birthday, and whereas Miss Birch was born on September 11th, 1921, and has been a longtime member of this Chincoteague Island community and is now the oldest living citizen. And whereas Miss Birch married Arthur Birch, and this union produced two children, 3 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren. Wow, that's a lot. Whereas during a long and productive lifetime, she has enjoyed being a member of the Union Baptist Church and the Island Baptist Church, and worked in the churches at numerous jobs, as well as received numerous awards for perfect attendance, and still enjoys shopping, traveling, and reading her Bible. Whereas in her dedication to the welfare of others has earned the respect and the affection of the people from all walks of life and all ages. Now, therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Chincoteague, I do hereby deem it an honor and a pleasure to extend this tribute to Miss Lily Mae Birch on the occasion of her 100th birthday, with sincere congratulations and best wishes for many more happy and productive years. Dated the 7th day of December, 2021. Here you go, ma'am. Congratulations. Thank you for coming. Okay. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for all the time you put in on it.
Say happy birthday. Okay, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Todd, you got the door, right?
Yeah, I got you. You got me. You got me, right? Justice.
All right, moving on. We have the introduction of new employees. Who wants to go first? Mr. Rush.
I was
you first.
defaulted, so
All right.
I'll go first. So this evening, I don't have a few of my employees here because most of my new employees are part-time employees, so they do have full-time. I'll mention them. Let me start this evening with Dwayne Reed. Dwayne, if Dwayne will stand. Actually, one of our new full-time came from the part-time ranks in early June and moved up to full-time. And Dwayne's a paramedic. You're fine. So, Dwayne's a paramedic, and again, we welcome him to our staff as one of our newest full-timers. And next to Dwayne, we have Joshua Medina. Josh is one of our part-timers. Josh works full-time with Accomack County, and Josh is an EMT advanced provider, so he brings experience as well. So we welcome Josh to our staff. Next to Josh is Chris, full-time employee with me as my partner back in the early 2000s. So, and actually 2000, 2001. So Chris has come back part-time. He's a full-time employee in Ocean City, Maryland. And he also brings with him a lot of experience in the EMS field as a paramedic. Then right here along the wall is Miss Madison, Miss Madison Savage. Madison is a fairly new EMT, but she brought a lot of confidence to her interview and to the hiring panel, which were all impressed. So we decided to give Madison a chance. We didn't typically go with EMTs, but we decided it was time to expand in that realm and use some new talents. So that's where we got Madison from. So Madison's also in paramedic school right now. So hopefully within the next year, year and a half, we'll see Madison with paramedic behind her name. Thank you, Madison. And then Miss Shelby Northam. Shelby's a paramedic. She brings some experience with her as well. She used to work for Accomack and also Virginia Beach. She's with us part-time. She may look very familiar to you because her sister Ashley is actually a full-time employee with us. So, you know, if you're ever out on the scene and you see two of them, you may not be sick. It may actually be two of them there, so don't get worried. So, thank you, Shelby. And also missing with us tonight, Sam Richardson. Sam is a paramedic, works for Accomack. He was actually in training across the bay today, so he didn't think he was going to make it back here this evening. Mike Rydberg, also one of our new hires. He's a paramedic as well. He's actually a full-time employee in Norfolk, so he brings that kind of experience with him. And then Seth Johnzak. Seth is also an EMT that we got in this last round of hiring. Seth, believe it or not, is a school teacher, teaches middle school history. So that's an extremely, different talent, but he really likes the EMS field, likes being, around people, helping people. So he brings a really good balance. So he's also on our part-time staff. And then Chris Cafaro, who's also an EMT advanced. He was hired in Madison's round, and he also, again, works for Accomack County full-time, works here for us part-time. So that's our new part-time employees and one new full-time employee. Our other full-time employee, Tom Copenhaver, couldn't be with us tonight. He was also on our part-time ranks, and then in the early summer moved up to to a full-time position. So again, we've got a lot of years of experience in our department. We've got some brand new folks, and we've got folks that have been around for some years. And together, I think it makes a really good, strong team and provides the citizens as well as our neighboring areas with very good quality of care. So.
Thanks for coming on. I hope I never see you. But I'm glad you're here. Yep. Really, really glad you're here. Anyone from council?
I guess
Your turn.
for our employees. Michelle Adams, if you want to stand real quick. Michelle's been with us before, and she's come back. She's a part-time dispatcher with us. Michelle works full-time at Pegasus, so we only get her every other weekend or so, but she's been a big help to us this summer, and we're tickled to death to have her. So thank you. And Savannah Stubbs, next to her. Savannah came on this spring, early summer, and she's been here with us too. She's been a great help. Savannah pretty much works anytime we need her. So she has been a great help to us. So thank you, Savannah. And Luke Arnold, he's feeling under the weather tonight, so we're going to get Luke on another time. I'll bring him in and introduce him. So that's the three that we had this summer. So. All right.
All right. Thank you.
And we're going to move right along here.
The next on the agenda is, we've got something to hand out. Now you're going first, Robbie.
Yes, I'll go first this time. Our officers had a call on June the 9th of this year. We received a call from a brother, said that his sister, he would have requested a welfare check on her. She had had some problems in the past. Her cell phone was pinging here on the island at a location. He called, and our officers went and checked on the subject. And when they checked on her, they found a pretty horrific scene. And they provided the first aid that was needed right immediately on the scene. Of course, notified our great EMS people. They responded. Matter of fact, the next morning when I came in, Brian met me in the hallway over in town office, and he said, my crew last night on the ambulance said your guys saved her life. So at that point, I knew I had to do something. They acted greatly, and thankfully, tonight, Miss Teresa Spedden is here with us. She was the one that was involved in the incident, and she has a little something that she would like to say also. So if I'll invite her up, if she will come on up. Like me, you got to get your glasses.
Can I sit in here a bit so everybody can?
Sure, yes. Yes, no problem.
Thanks for having me. Really happy that I can be here. I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude to the many people that were instrumental in saving my life on the night of June 9, 2021. First, I'd like to thank my brother, who's here with me today, for using his expertise to locate me nearly 2 hours from home and calling 911. For without that call, I would have undoubtedly not survived my injuries. Next, my deepest gratitude goes out to every person directly, as well as indirectly, that was involved in my rescue. I was determined to die that night, but you and God had other plans. You went far and above the call of duty, working fiercely to get me through locked doors and then to gain physical control of me as I fought you. You showed no judgment of the mental illness that had taken me to that point, and it was obvious that you truly cared about my well-being as a person. You'll never know how much that means to me. You remained pinpoint focused throughout what was an incredibly tense and stressful situation, all the while calming me and rendering medical aid that ultimately saved my life. There are no words to adequately thank you for what you each did for me that night, but know that I've come out on the other end of this with a renewed sense of self. I have started my life over with supportive family and friends, proper medical care, and the grace of God. I consider you all angels on the earth and true heroes, all of you. With all of my heart, I thank you.
I'm going to have her stand up here. We're going to officers, their awards. We've got them a plaque. Thomas, you can come up here first. Corporal Thomas Adams. This plaque is from the Chincoteague Police Department. Certificate of recognition presented to Corporal Thomas J. Adams in appreciation for your prompt and unselfish act on June 9, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life. Stated this 17th day of September 2021 and signed by me. So, there's the plaque if you want. Yes. And here. Oh no. These life savings, they actually say life saving on them, and they will be able to wear them on their Class A uniforms. So, thank you very much. Next, Sean, can you come up here? Sean? Cody couldn't be with us tonight, so.
Next best thing.
Next best. Yeah.
Cody might have something to say about that.
I know.
As everybody knows, this is Sean Jennings, this is Cody's mom, and this is the same thing. Chincoteague Police Certificate of recognition presented to Corporal Cody G. Butler in appreciation of your unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life, dated the 7th day of September 2021. There you go. And there's his pen also. Thank you. Next is Corporal David Glad. David, this is the same thing. Chincoteague Police Department certificate of recognition presented to you, Corporal David T. G. T. T. It's in that fancy range.
Fancy
David T. Gladding Jr. in appreciation of your prompt and unselfish act on June 9, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life, dated the 7th day of September, 2021.
Thank you. Thank you with all my heart. Thank you.
Gino. Gino, this of recognition is presented to you, PFC Gino V. Giminani, in appreciation of your prompt and unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life, dated the 7th day of September 2021. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jeffrey. This certificate of recognition is presented to PFC Jeffrey F. Stevens in appreciation for your prompt and unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being, resulting in saving a life, dated the 7th day of September 2021.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My favorite words.
Thank you. And then last but not, we always hear about the officers, but there's a voice behind all of us, and that is the dispatcher that was working that night. Benji, up here. Benji Holloway was working that night And while the officers were there on the scene, in fact, he took the initial call, from her brother. He got the officers there in a timely manner, and then he had to coordinate calling EMS and everyone else and keeping everybody. That's our calming the storm, all of these dispatchers. I don't know where we'd be without. So again, I want to recognize Benji that night. That's a bit of recognition presented to Dispatcher Benji Holloway in appreciation for your prompt and unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life. Dated this 7th day of September 2021.
Thank you so much.
Yep. You're welcome. Yes. Yes, thank you so much.
Very much.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
bless
Thank
you.
you again so much. All right, so on the same meeting, congratulations, good job. I know my people don't hand out accolades too much, but yeah, you did all right. So anybody wants a part-time job, come see me. We'll see what we can do. Wait a minute now, if we start combining, yeah, we better not do that. So I want to recognize the three folks that were able to take care of you from the officers to the hospital that evening as well. Unfortunately, Sam Richardson's not with us. He was in the introduction that also he wasn't here. But I do have with us tonight two of the individuals. So if I could have Mr. Joshua Medina, EMT Advanced Joshua Medina. Absolutely, yes ma'am. So as you can see, we don't have apparently the police department. A little friendly, we have to do. Okay. So, certificate of recognition presented to EMT Advanced Medina in appreciation for your prompt and unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life. Dated this 7th day of September, 2021. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Here you go. Right in there.
Yeah. Is there another?
There's one. And also, we will recognize this evening paramedic Dwayne Reed. Dwayne was also. You remember Dwayne?
I do.
I hope it's in a good way.
It's painful but good.
Okay. That's just
That's
so we have
okay.
that. So again, a certificate of recognition presented to paramedic Dwayne C. Reed in appreciation for your prompt and unselfish act on June 9th, 2021, rendering aid and assistance to another human being resulting in saving a life. Dated the 7th day of September, 2021.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Hold it up, get a picture. Very important. Uh-oh. All right.
Thank you.
And one more thing. Well, thank you, of course, and Benji dispatchers, all that were involved that night. But I want to thank Miss Faden and her brother also. They didn't have to come here. She sent me the nicest email, after she had started recovering, and she wanted to thank them. And I told her in the email, that I plan on honoring, our officers for what they did. And she asked me, she said, can I please, come down and share this? She's shared this on her own. And I just want to thank her. I wish her well and everything that, she has going forward. So thank you all very much.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming. See you. You got it. Both of you look like you're on duty. You gotta be out.
fuel. Been there a few times, but never in a situation like that.
Never want to be in a situation like that. Alrighty, item 9 on our agenda is staff reports. Mike, take it away.
Yes, sir. Good evening. And I'd like to say congratulations to EMS and our CPD personnel. As you know, they're all great. They're excellent. We have excellent staff. We have excellent supervisors, and I'm very proud of all of them. And from that, the old firehouse. We rented one more space. We actually rented the old council chambers in the month of August to Mr. Gary Weber, who's of Snow Hill. You may remember him as former owner of the Blue Dog restaurant in Snow Hill. Rented the old council chambers, which is the very back space there on the side in the old town office building. But he intends to make a pottery studio of that. He did not say whether he intends to open that studio up or if he just intends to make pottery there and sell it in other places. But he intends to convert that space to a pottery studio, and we're very happy with that. And we've since then been showing the space to some other folks. We had one gentleman who's interested in opening a tasting room in one of the spaces, and he's considering that right now. And another gentleman who's maybe interested in opening a barber shop came and looked at it the other day. So there's definitely some interest in the old fire hall, and we're happy to show it to them and perhaps rent it to them if it's the right space for them. Everyone knows that the council approved the purchase of a SCBA compressor for the fire department. That equipment has been ordered. We do expect it in the next 30 to 45 days. And when it's here, of course, it'll go right to work at the firehouse, at the new firehouse. Also, everyone knows that the council approved a 1/3 donation of the cost of the new forensic accident unit that the Virginia State Police wanted. New this month is I did get a hold of Mr. Charles Kolakowski, the county administrator for the county of Northampton, who did agree that Northampton would pay 1/3 of the cost of this unit. That makes the town of Chincoteague paying 1/3, county of Accomack is paying 1/3, now Northampton's agreed to pay 1/3. And I've ordered the equipment. We should see it within the next 30 days, hopefully a little sooner. But in the next 30 days we should see it. At that time we'll arrange a donation to the Virginia State Police, and First Sergeant Myers is very excited to get that equipment. I sent you all in the last month some data on the 2020 census, which is the first sub-state data that has been published. Just a matter of interest, it looks like the town of Chincoteague gained just over 400 residents since the 2010 census, and they are split up at 53% women, 47% men, with the voting age of adults 16.7% being under the age of 35, 45.5% being between the age of 35 and 64, and 38.8% are over the age of 64. So it gives you a little bit of breakdown of who we are and what ages we are. The GAC plant, the filtration plant that NASA built to combat the PFAS that was found in our water, is still operating nominally. They are still in the testing protocol that we agreed to with NASA going into this. Right now they're sampling bi-weekly, once every other week, and the levels are still low. The influent is still higher than the 70 nanograms per liter that the EPA recommends, but the influent is still higher, but the effluent, the treated effluent, is down in the single digits, which is of course less than the 70 nanograms per liter that the EPA recommends. So GAC plant's still doing its job, and the testing protocol should prove that it is going to continue this job. It should also give them an idea, give the operator an idea of when that charcoal in that plant has to be changed or rotated. which is a secondary reason for testing. The harbor, we've installed, finally received and installed a couple new no-wake buoys. Now there are 3 at Memorial Park. There's one at the park, one a little farther south near the pier for the pony swim, fire department's pier for Pony Swim Day, and there's one to the north close to where SeaTag Lodge is and the entrance to Sheepshead Creek. That whole zone there, and you can see it on the screen right now, that whole zone there has been approved by the BMRC as a no-wake zone. The buoys are approximately 200 feet from the western shore, and the zone is actually between the buoy and the western shore. From what I have seen, personally witnessed, it seems like folks see the buoy and abide by it, but I have gotten reports from several of the property owners around there that they don't think that there's been a lot of change in people's actions in their boats. At this point, all we can do is simply post the zone and hope that people heed the warning. Going to the financial report, we're 2 months into the new fiscal year, and for the most part, we're on schedule. We do see a couple of anomalies. EMS expenses are a little higher than they were last year this time. Part of that is that we don't have any folks at EMS on workman's comp this year. Also, we did, council did approve some extra part-time hours last year for extra staffing, and that is taking effect. So that's why you see a little higher there. And we do have a new patrol car that got charged in this year, which helped the CPD's expense be a little higher than last. So other than that, we were pretty much on schedule, and we still think that we should meet our budget with expenses and revenues at this point. Moving on to meals and transient. Of course, we have a extra 1% transient occupancy tax that went into effect in January, so we would expect those numbers to be a little higher. So I did the usual chart that you're used to seeing with the 3-year average for both meals and transient occupancy, and of course our meals tax is better than the 3-year average by $50,000 for the month of August, and our transient occupancy tax is $188,000 over the 3-year average. Now that you would expect with the extra 1% that we're collecting over last year, but when you correct for that 1%, we're still seeing a 25% increase in transient occupancy and a 30% increase in meals tax from over last year. So still doing very, very well in those two taxes. As you can see, the graphs are pointing up consistently, so we're very happy about that. Building and zoning, we are still seeing a busy month. 42 permits issued last month, and Mark reports that he is, well, we talk every day, he's very, very busy. Between the calls, people in the office, the inspections he does, trying to keep the CRS rating in line and all those things, he's still a very busy man, and we're thankful to have him there. And I would like to say, and I'm going to steal a little bit of Harvey's thunder here, because he's going to give you a report on Brianna's Kindness Park. I have my grandkids there on Sunday morning, and they report, and I could show you videos, but they absolutely love the playground equipment in that park. They could not find things they kept wanting to jump off of higher and higher. They loved the swings. They played music for everybody in the neighborhood Sunday morning at about 8 o'clock. It was a wonderful thing, and on the way out I asked them if they liked that park or Memorial Park better, and they thought for about 2 seconds and said they liked the new park. So now they had it to themselves, and it was brand new, but still the reviews are in, as far as I'm concerned. It's a very good success, and I would like to say thank you to the Public Works Department. All of you know I was in the construction business for many years, and the thing that used to give me a satisfaction was after you get done building something, you back up and look at it and you just say, see, look what I did. It gives you a sense of satisfaction that it's there and it'll be there and people will enjoy it for years. Well, the Public Works Department should feel that way. I hope they feel that way, because they did an excellent job of building this park. They did it all themselves.
It'll be there for many, many years, and I hope that all of them feel a sense of satisfaction. I certainly do, and I certainly thank Harvey and all the Public Works Department for doing this. They did an excellent job. And I would just like to say that, and he'll give you a report on it a little later.
And the kids were enjoying it
The
today.
kids love it.
Yeah, they were out there today, little ones.
And now I'll turn it over to Robbie, unless there's any questions.
Okay. I took up a lot of y'all's time already, so I'll be pretty brief on this. Basically, this month we have assisted the U.S. Fish and Wildlife with clearing off the beach and traffic control for the rocket launch. That was the first Antares that we've had in the summer months so far. Brian and myself had talked about it, and one of the great things we think that happened there was we pretty much figured in the summertime we can clear the beach off in about 2.5 hours in any type of emergency. You know, this was kind of a pre-planned thing, but Fish and Wildlife Service worked great with all of us, and you know, we were able to get it cleared off and everything. You know, they wanted it by 3, and I would say probably about 10 minutes to 3. We got the last car heading off. So everything worked great on that. And of course the launch was a success and went up that day also. Thank you. Thankfully. On August 16th through the 19th, PSC Jeff Stevens attended a standardized field sobriety test instructor school out in Richmond. I'm looking to hopefully have 2 officers here that will be drug recognition experts. That's what I'm working at. It's a lot of schools they have to go through in order to get that. But with the advent of the legalization of marijuana, I think that's going to be something that is going to be needed across the state. And right now, to my knowledge, we don't have any on the shore, any drug recognition experts. So I'm going to, you know, like I said, I'm going to try to have for our department, at least to have 1 for now, and then a second one added later on. Hopefully keep them on separate shifts, so if they are needed in other parts of the county or anything, then we can, you know, hopefully send them. We'll always have, you know, 1 on, you know, hopefully in the evenings. Also on August 16th through the 20th, PSC John Carmody attended the school resource officer training out in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Today was his first day of school, and he's reported that all pretty much went off without a hitch. He said everything is going good so far, so you know, he seems to be looking forward to, you know, to working with I think the new principal, Katie, Katie Farrell, and so everything is going good there. And on August the 27th, Corporal Adams, Thomas Adams attended our DMV Selective Enforcement Grant Workshop. We have to attend 2 of those each year. One is for when we actually submit our grant. I think that's usually in February, I believe, February, March. And then the grant here in August is usually when they tell us, you know, what we're going to get. So, and then again, we've got our poker run this Saturday. Thankfully, everything's still on. We're getting some more auction items, you know, each and every day. If you know anybody that, you know, has anything to donate, we're more than welcome to take it for the auction. The poker run's going to start at Royal Farms. We're going to go to Greenbackville Harbor / the Krusty Krab. Not sure if they're going to be open or not, but it's beautiful. You know, down there at the harbor, beautiful view of Chincoteague. Leave out of there, go up to Stockton, go over to Pocomoke, and then the 3rd stop will actually be at El Maya, I think is the name of the restaurant there in Pocomoke beside the Hardee's. Leave out of there, go past Pocomoke High School, back through Dunswamp, and eventually work its way to Capnee's Hurricane Grill in Saxis. And then we'll leave from Saxis and come back here on Chincoteague, end at Don Seafood, where of course we'll have the, you know, the food for everybody, and the auction. I believe the auction we're going to try to start at 3 p.m. And then after the auction is complete, then we'll have front page news playing out on Main Street again this year. So this will be the first year that we've actually, you know, last year we couldn't do the full poker run, but I think everybody's been looking forward to it this year. So hopefully we'll have a great turnout. The weather will be great, and we can raise a lot of money for the kids in the community.
You closing the street
Main
just
Street.
from parts of Main?
Church
from
Street to Mumford, like
to
yes,
Mumford.
yes, like we usually do.
Okay.
Yes, and that will be on the 20th anniversary of
Yeah,
9/11
9/11,
also.
yeah.
So I think I believe Benji has talked with Bobby Lappin, and we're going to try to get the fire truck and flag somewhere down there. We're working out the logistics on that. But yeah, that's in remembrance of the 20th anniversary. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, I do. Are the officers, do they have Narcan training?
Yes.
And then they have Narcan available right there with them? That's great.
Yes.
Because like
yes,
you said, sometimes you're just there before they're there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got to check into that. I think every one of them are trained, to my knowledge, because Luke, of course, he was our newest employee, but he was working down in only. They had it also. But the Narcan is only good, I think, for, was it 2 years, I believe, or 3? I'm not sure. But so I've got, it's still, even if it's expired and what we're talking to train, it's still better than nothing.
Yes.
But I'm going to check all of our, make sure we can, we're up to date on everything on that too. But yes, yes. Thankfully, we haven't had to use it.
Yes, but
Quite a
this,
while.
when you start letting you go into,
Oh, yes.
it'll be,
Yes. Yep.
All right, I promise you to have my bird. Paint will be dry too.
Hey,
I wish.
we've had it when it's still been damp, so we appreciate it. Yes, thank you very much.
Is it Canadian goose with a hideaway?
No, he's still growing.
You'll get some mine soon, you'll sign the bottom of
Thank you.
it. It's done. I had it done.
Harvey usually gets his before you do.
Well, as long as you get it before Saturday
That's
morning.
it. By Saturday.
That means I got a better hair dryer than he does.
Yeah, I don't use hair dryer. All right, any further questions for Chief Fisher? No. All right, thank you, Robbie.
Thank you all very much.
All right, you're up, Harley.
Mr. Tolbert, first off, thank you for the kind words on the park. Yes, as Mr. Tolbert mentioned, in spite of all the extremely busy summer of cutting grass and distributing millions of gallons of water, we managed to complete Brianna's Kindness Park. Actually, as of today, we installed the 3 benches that are there. So the park is the playground, I should say, is 100% complete. All the equipment's obviously installed. A lot of children enjoying it already. One thing that I've noted, it seems to be the favorite piece of playground equipment down there for small children is the adult exercise equipment. So it's kind of like Christmas morning when they all play with the box, I guess. But striping the parking lot, we actually have to order a little bit of thermo to wrap up striping the parking lot. Schedule is to dig footers for the restroom tomorrow, actually. So we've done the layout, as you can see, but we'll actually start footers, placing concrete, all the exciting stuff tomorrow. Starting to have some reservations about the completion date that we originally published due to the availability of materials, which, as you're aware, everybody's fighting. The pavilion manufacturer sent me a notice today. They were originally 1st of October, and now they're telling me the 12th of October, and that potentially could continue to slide to the right. But I assure you we will get everything installed as it becomes available. Other thing I wanted to mention in my report real quick, we actually installed the southern gateway for the water meter system. I don't know if you remember, the original budget for that project was right at $70,000. We figured out a way to do it for right at 20. And the good news is the new gateway is reading daily well over or hourly, I should say, well over 1,000 meters. So it filled a big void. We still got roughly 200 meters that we're not reliably leading, and of all places, both of them are at the extreme north end of the island. So there are alternatives for that. They actually sell a cell service for the meter now, basically at the same cost. So we'll look at that and see if it makes sense. Other than that, I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, I've got one, just minor, Memorial Park. Had some people ask me about the swings there. And it looks like when I rode by there the other day that one of the top bars are bent. I don't know if it was that or not, but I could on getting.
No, and if you've noticed, we've actually removed the swings from
now.
that section
Yeah.
and ordered a new set of swings, which I believe, I got a call from Old Dominion Freight. They have a package for me tomorrow, and I believe it's the new swing set for Memorial Park.
Okay, so the whole thing's gonna be new?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, we're gonna replace it in its entirely, because it was worse than the bent part. Some of the legs down under the mulch had started to rust. So we decided it wasn't safe and took it out of service.
Thank you.
Speaking on that, what's the compatibility of the new pirate ship? Did you see if it was compatible, or
It does not comply with safety regulations.
is there anything similar to that that does?
I'm not saying there isn't. I haven't located one yet. But I will continue to, obviously that left a big void there that needs to be filled, because you've heard me say it before, all that fancy new playground equipment, you go down there any given day, 90% of the kids are on the pirate ship.
Can we just give them some big cardboard boxes?
Yeah. Or we'll install some more adult exercise equipment over there.
Any more questions for Harvey? All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Rush?
Good evening again. Mr. Talbert's going to bring up my presentation for this evening.
1 second here.
There we go. One thing I'd like to point out on the number, I do have a change in your total responses that you have on your sheets in front of you. Under the other category, it shows 9, it should be 8. So that was a mistake on my part. But again, finished the month with the total of 119, which is 3 more than last year. So again, it's still a pretty busy month. Did a comparison for you for the last 5 years. And you can see we got 2 anomalies on the sheet, 2018, 2019. One's low, one's high. Couldn't find a reason for that. But as you can see, if we go all the way back to 2017, we're staying pretty steady in that 110 area to 120. So again, as we move forward past COVID, it'll be interesting to see how the future years play out there. So again, we're always doing some type of shift training. The different shifts are doing things. Usually it's something that's out of the wheelhouse, because again, it always happens. Murphy always shows up. So we like to kind of be ready. So maybe we're not the experts at it, but when we get into the public, it looks like we know what we're doing. So again, training is very important. Moving on to the emergency management side of things. Next slide, please. The tide gauge that's listed in your report, as well as the picture of it, that's what it is there on the right. It's a temporary tide gauge. It's very rudimentary for that part. And we've been working with Mr. Martin Steinson from the University Corporation of Atmospheric Research. And the purpose of this gauge is to test its ability next to a good gauge. So the USGS gauge that reports to NOAA there at the harbor, that's a really good quality gauge. So they're able to compare data from this rudimentary gauge to the very good high-tech gauge. And in the end, we are trying to help them be a study partner so that these gauges can be deployed across the Caribbean in poor areas that can't afford the more expensive gauges. We were very fortunate through Sandy money and USGS to get our gauge here. We had been asking for one for a long time, but certainly in some of those countries in the Caribbean, they can't afford anything like that. So if something like this will work, you know, down the road when you hear of the different tidal variants and so forth in the islands, maybe it's because of some of the work that we did here. So that's something we were really looking forward to.
How does that work? How does that work?
Okay, so if you'll back up there a second, Mr. Talbot. Nope. Hit backspace.
Hello.
So if you notice here on the gauge, we have an anemometer up here that reads our wind, okay? The speed of our wind, also the direction of our wind. You notice it's being powered by solar. It's just a simple little solar cell in there. And then inside is an eye, okay? If you notice here. And it actually, they calibrate it to look at the different depth. And by using that calibration here, okay, to this particular gauge here, they can see how accurate it might be. We don't think that it would be as accurate as this gauge, certainly, because it has a lot more high-tech parts. But again, something this rudimentary could even play well here on the shore. You could deploy them in some of the necks, some of the boat ramps and stuff like that, just to try to help get an idea. Because we know in our storms here even, sometimes we expect the tide to be really high down here, you know, because it's coming in and out of the inlet. I think Sandy was one of them. I think it's so confusing, but to the north end, you know, was more water, more tide to the north end than it was here on the south end. So again, it could be a tool that helps us all out. But when we were approached, Mr. Talbot and myself discussed it with them, and hey, why not? Why not, in the name of science, try to help out somewhere, and maybe we will benefit from it as well.
How is the data collected? Do they go there and grab a card out of it?
So
Or?
they actually, at this present moment, it's not transmitting data, but they can actually link to it via cellular. It's transmitting cellular data. Once they have it up and running properly, they're actually going to give me a web link to it. I'll be happy to share
That's
that.
cool.
To kind of see it, although it's not going to give you any data per se. I can give you a quick explanation, but it's not going to look like our fancy tide gauge data that. But again, it's all, you know, referenced around the datums and so forth, and again, I think it's a good project.
Cool. Thank you.
So today's situational awareness, since we are getting into the height of hurricane season, you know, probably heard on the news, although probably should stay away from the news, Hurricane Larry is out there in the center of the Atlantic, kind of heading towards Bermuda right now, but it is forecasted to make a turn and continue on out to sea. So thankfully it shouldn't be an issue for us, except for some very large swell impacting the coastline here in the next few days. The next little disturbance that you see down there, the little yellow X, is forecasted to be somewhere in that oblong grid shape here in the next 5 days. And they are anticipating that it could strengthen into some type of either a depression or a storm once it crosses over the peninsula of Florida. Now, does it keep moving out to sea? Does it come up the coast? Yeah, that's not anything that we can determine right now. But again, there's a 30% chance in 5 days that it can strengthen into a storm. So just something to be on the lookout for. So with that being said, September is Preparedness Month. So all the national organizations recognize this. And today, for the week of January 5th through the 11th, if folks or yourselves would go on our webpage or the town's Facebook, you can find the link to what makes a good disaster preparedness kit, which you should have in your kit. I've got some basics up here. A gallon of water a day, non-perishable food. And we really need to look at 5 days. We've never had to do that. We've been very blessed over the years. However, what happened in Louisiana could certainly happen here. Some of you may remember the 1962. It will take some days to get provisions in here. So if you're asked to stay or to leave, you should leave. If you stay, you need to be prepared. Again, it could happen. And not just a storm. There could be a power grid failure on the East Coast. Do you have any cash that you can get out and actually do something with? Because a card's not going to work. These are all things to think about. And another big one I'll bring up here is pet supplies. We tend to forget our pets when it comes to emergency planning, but they're part of the family, so don't forget them. keep them involved. So again, if you go to our website, you can see that list. Next week will be no-cost preparedness. So I'll have a new list on there next week to give you some ideas. And then September 19th through the 25th will be Teach Youth About Preparedness Week. So there's going to be a lot of good ideas on there that week for activities for kids, teens, families, and even educators. So again, if there's any educators out there listening tonight that want to do something in the classroom, need some help putting it together, by all means reach out and contact me for that. So I know the next burning question is COVID, and here's where we're sitting right now. So the 7-day positivity rate statewide is 10%, which is fairly high. However, it has come down in the last few days. We were up to 10.6%. So we have come down. But if you notice September 7th on that bottom line there being at 10%, last year this time we were at 7.1%. So it just kind of gives you a little comparison of what's going on out there. We're at 217 total cases since the event started, which is 11 more since last Monday. So we've had a pretty substantial increase in the last week. And again, COVID is here. Can't say it enough, say it every time I come to the podium. There's a lot of things that we're trying to do to mitigate it, but again, it's still out here. We still need to be aware of it, but it's nothing that we cannot handle at this time. So right now, all 12 plus are vaccine eligible. There's talk now of moving it down to the 5-year-olds and up. Local PPE supplies are still stable because every chance we can get, we're getting it, just in case that next round were to come around more vengeful than what we're seeing right now. Face coverings, again, are recommended by the CDC for indoor events within certain counties. And again, Accomack is listed as one of those counties by the CDC. There's also the continued potential for variants. And for those of you that are following, the MU variant is another one now that's making headway. And today I did see that they are seeing it in 49 of our states. They have found the MU. But Delta is still the primary strain. Had some questions on boosters. I know booster shots are a big discussion out here. The CDC is coming up with guidance that says 8 months post your second shot should be a booster round. Right now, and again, that's the Pfizer or Moderna, not the Johnson & Johnson. If you got that, not a second round of that, but or third round, excuse me, Pfizer or Moderna. Currently, most at risk. So the immunocompromised, and then we're going to roll out to healthcare, long-term care, and then our older adults. So you'll kind of see a similar rollout. They're still working some logistics. I know there are some areas, even locally, that some folks have already received a booster shot. So again, the official guidance that's come out is, hey, this is getting ready to roll out, but I can tell you I have heard that there are some already happening. So again, stand by for that. So to summarize, EMS again remains busy. Peak hurricane season is September 10th, but just because we get to Friday doesn't mean it's over with. Again, like I told you earlier in the year, they're thinking this year might be a later season. So it's been active here lately, has backed off a little bit thankfully, but again, we still need to be prepared. The season runs through November 30th. There's still that potential increase for cases because of the new variants. Check with your healthcare provider. If you want a booster, call your healthcare provider. That's going to be your best place to start. And again, COVID's here. What can we do? Wash our hands, wear a mask when we get in large groups, and watch our distance from people. That's what we can do. Any questions?
Is the health seeing an increase in people getting the vaccinations, or is it kind of level off?
So I don't have that answer. I can get that for you, but I don't have that answer for you tonight.
That's fine.
Any others? Excellent. Thank you.
Need to wake Chris up. You still there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, good to have you with us. Next on the agenda is committee reports, and we're going to start off with Vice Mayor Bott on the Budget and Personnel Committee of August 9th.
Yeah, hold on, I'm pulling up my sheet here.
Okay.
So I think we needed a vote from the council, I believe,
The details on the meeting are in your packet. And if you look at that, we discussed Chief Fisher and Brian Rush came before us. Chief Fisher, we're still working on that, and I believe we're going to work on that some more at the next budget and personnel meeting. I believe with Mr. Rush, the committee recommends to the council to approve an increase in the part-time hours and to increase pay for a supervisor. So basically adding a supervisor in that department. So I will bring that before the council in the form of a motion to increase the part-time hours and to allow an increase in pay for a supervisor.
All right, we need a second.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
And the last thing we discussed during our meeting was the allocation of the 1% transient occupancy tax. And the committee voted to put a line item in the budget that is going to be controlled by the Public Safety Committee. So that's for information.
Yep.
And that's all I have.
All righty. Thank you. Well,
You are-
glad you're here. All right, next up is the Recreation and Community Enhancement Committee. Mr. Taylor.
Okay, we had a meeting, because I know in the packet it doesn't say, but we had a soft opening for the Brianna Connis part. And also NISA always says government moves slowly. And it started with the Leonard family saving a piece of property that they could use for the town. And Dave picked it up when he bought his property with the same intentions. And like I said, the wheels of government move slowly, as you said. It wasn't fast enough, but the Lord has blessed us, like Mr. Talbert said, with a beautiful park. And the kids, and like I said, there are specialty items there that will be for special needs kids too. And like you say, it's not, things don't happen. And like I said, I'm gonna go one step further with Arthur's dad. I mean, he had a love, that's what things in his heart. Because I know that he done for the YMCA, and you've been to the gave these were things that were on his heart for long periods of time. And, but when you're here, do good. You know what I'm saying? While we're on our, and things they turn slowly, Denise, they do. But you know, but we're still very blessed, and things, the dreams of people, you know, you can see them come to fruition, and even like Chris is sitting there on the thing, you know, I said, Chris, go to the budget committee. It's time. And the council approve, you know what I'm saying? And that's hard things to do, you know. And but we're just very blessed. And that's not even on the on this thing. Miss Joanne Moore came to us about Civil War trails, and she does have some Civil War history. We fought for the North, and like I said, we don't have to deal with taking down Confederate soldiers off our thing. Thank goodness, you know what I mean? And we even got the Clark gentleman who served, and he, you know, gave us discharge papers, and even about, you know, $25 pension for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? And it was like you say, we sold our oysters to the North, and that was even things they had to protect. The North had to protect our shipments to the North, and so I think that's something that we want to put up on. It's not hard to do, and we're going to look into it and try to be part of the Civil War Trail. That was part of it, and that's something that I think we're going to be going. Also, the lady here, Miss Kathy, was here about the island pickleball and the tennis courts, and I know we talked about they were going to put money into it, but because of ARPA, the town had said that, you know, we'll take and fix up the pickleball courts and fix up the tennis courts and basketball courts, because that's what the ARPA is about, outdoor recreation. And I am going to say one more thing. We talked about it at the end. We've gotten things for the elderly. We've gotten things for the young. But we do have to think about these people over here in our high school now and have things for them. We really do. We can't forget about it, because, like I said at the meeting, if we don't have something for them, the streets certainly do. And so keep that in our thoughts and prayers. And some things that we can do for our teenage people on our own. And Mr. Mayor, that's it. Thank you very much.
All righty. Any questions? All righty. Following that, I need a motion to adopt the minutes of our August 2nd and our August 19th council meetings. Was there any corrections or changes that need to be made? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All righty. Next up is council comments. Mr. Savage.
I just think it's been a heartfelt evening myself, just seeing what's happened here tonight with the recognition of our responders, both the EMS and the police force, who have gone above and beyond their duty to save a life. I mean, what can you ask? And I think they've done a fantastic job, and you can see while they were up there, just a humility, that they observed. And that's what we have to remember as well. We have to be humble at times, but still be effective. And I think they did an exceptional job on that. Again, kudos to the Brianna Park. I've been there several times, and it's just turned out really, really good. So I just offer just kudos to the town for the great job that Public Works and all did on that. And I guess we continue our prayers for Chris. He's bouncing through the hurdles and such, and our prayers are still with Chris. And I think our prayers need to be with all these people who are going through these difficulties with the storms and stuff. And it's unbelievable what a storm can do. And again, as it's been mentioned earlier, we were so blessed that we've survived here on this island as many years as we have. And we just we're blessed beyond manners, and God has really truly blessed us in that. And I appreciate the town of Chincoteague, and I appreciate what's been going on with our meals tax, our transit occupancy tax, the people that have come here and have seeked enjoyment for their families and such, and this has really benefited us as well. So kudos to the people that's visited here. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Jean?
Along Jay's line, we had kids in the activities building. We asked them for prayer requests, and they say for everyone. And that's what our prayer request. And we're just gonna pray for everyone, because like you said, you just don't know what somebody's going through. And sometimes it's like I said with the police, sometimes you don't win to hold them and win to fold them. And that's a straightforward way to think, but that is the whole thing in a nutshell. You don't win to hold them, win to fold them. And like you say, we're blessed, and we do want to pray for everyone, because everybody needs it.
All right, Bill.
Just happy birthday again to Lily Birch. I didn't realize she shared birthday with my mom, so pretty special there, so it was cool to see. Also along the lines of what Jay was saying, what happened with Ida could easily have happened here, so definitely prayers to all these people up to the north and down south too. They're dealing with all that right now. Then the other thing I had was just a comment. Something Mike said struck a chord with me when he was talking about the park, about when you stand back from a project, you see something that you've done and take a lot of satisfaction in that. So I wonder if it'd be possible, and maybe somebody's thinking about this already, is having a plaque down there with all the people in Public Works that contributed to that and having that posted.
I can definitely do that.
I think that would be something very cool. I mean, we've not done anything like this in a long time on the island, and definitely be some recognition for some hard work there. So just a thought there. So that's, other than that, congratulations to all the folks that participated in the life-saving. That was great to see. So that's it.
All right. Denise?
Yeah, I got a couple things. 23, 24 years ago, I was standing at the top of the World Trade Center. Got a really good look at New York City and surrounding areas and everything, and I think all of us can look back in our minds and know exactly where we were and what we were doing when that news broke. And for months and months and months, I searched for a picture of me standing on Governor's Island with the World Trade Center in the back. And turns out Lita had it. And she found it, she gave it to me and everything. And every now and then I go back and I look at that picture, and when I was trying to describe it after everything had happened, I told my mom, I says, you can't understand it unless you've really been there, how massive, you know, these structures were and everything. And it's something that every year on this date that, you know, our hearts always go out to everyone who lost their lives, and then to our soldiers who picked up the stick and carried on, and who still keep us protected. And for that, I'm very, very grateful and very thankful. Our officers, our EMS department, y'all hear me say it every month. I put them up against anybody. Incredible. To save someone's life is the greatest feeling in the whole wide world. It beats anything you'll ever do. And I'm grateful that they were there. I'm grateful that the young lady has been able to get help and turn things around. Miss Lily, can you imagine the things she's seen in her lifetime? You know, 100 years. I look back on it and, you know, went through the events from 1921 on up to right now. I mean, it's just amazing that someone lives to be, you know, 100 years old and can reflect on the things that they have gone back and seen that has happened in this world, both good and bad. And it blows your mind. And, you know, God bless her, because that's an achievement that not a lot of people get. Which leads me to the last thing that I want to say. Since we met last, this community lost a really, really great human being in Mr. Gary Mason. Call him Mr. Kiwanis. And my heart goes out to his family and the Kiwanis family, and I just, he's definitely going to be missed. Definitely going to be missed here on this island. And with that being said, my Yankees are in a little bit of a slump.
They are. All righty, Miss Ellen? You're good? All right, that leaves it up to me. First off, you know, we can't say it enough how blessed we are to live where we live. And it proved it tonight. You hear about all this stuff going on all over the country, and then you come to one of these meetings and you found out, you know, where you live is a pretty special place. I want to thank Mr. Landsberger, because if it wasn't for him, Brianna's Park probably wouldn't have come to fruition through his generosity. Just one of his many generosities to the town. But I'm glad to see it being used. It does, the wheels turn very slowly. Believe me. God, has it been, how long ago was it, Gene Wayne, that school came up for sale? Has it been 20 years?
Absolutely.
It's been a long time. Oh, shit. I did it again. And I mentioned that before. Sorry. I'll finish real quickly. I want to mention Miss Lily May. You know, when you think about it, the toll road was new when she was coming up. That's saying something. And I also wanted to mention Harvey and our harbor master Vernon. They assisted a sailboat that was coming through our harbor last week. It was coming to our harbor and got stranded out in our inlet. And they were trying to raise the Coast Guard and Coast Guard couldn't be raised on Chincoteague, so they had to assist with getting the Coast Guard out there to them.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Sure.
the original call came into the town office that the girls in the front office handled calling the harbor master, so it was a
Town effort, joint
it was
effort.
a joint effort by all
And
members.
they did rescue the persons on the sailboat, and then a few days later, they got the sailboat there. Got it off. All righty.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you one question?
Sure.
I just asked Miss Ellen because I wanted to make sure myself, with the causeway coming into existence, completed in 1922. I think that we should have some kind of recognition of that. That's
Yeah.
some kind of little, maybe new ribbon cutting or something for 2022 or,
Hopefully we won't get stuck in this one.
yeah. We should try to plan something for that.
And my last comment, as always, is roll tide. Chris, you're up.
Yeah, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session according to 2.2-3711A, 1, 3, and 5 of the Code of Virginia for specific employee issues and prospective business opportunities.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.